Innovative Equity Strategies. Welcome, thanks for coming.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Jane, why don't you tell us about Innovative Equity Strategies, what it does?
Sure. We are a collaborative of advisors who work with privately held business owners to help them figure out plans for their business, primarily growth and strategy plans, but also, most importantly, to help them figure out how to do an ownership transition. You know, there are a number of baby boomers. In fact, there are millions of baby boomers who will be looking to monetize all the hard work that they put into their companies over the years, and they need help in figuring out how to do that. So that's what we specialize in.
So your job's not too stressful, right? I mean, you have to be a strategic thinker, you need to be a counselor, you need to be many things.
There's a lot of aspects to it. And as I like to say, I was a former business owner. I was partnered with my sister for about 15 years.
Yes.
My husband's been working with his father for 31 years. So if it's not tough enough to figure out how to run a business, when you layer in the family dimension, it adds a whole new layer of complexity to the business.
Absolutely.
So about
Always.
75% of our clients are family-owned businesses.
Well, you know, I think it's over 80% of all companies in the United States are family-owned, so you're only staying within that category.
That's exactly right. Exactly right.
So have you always worked in the family business environment, or is this a new venture for you?
Actually, I've been working with business owners. I started a consulting firm back in 1990. So working with business owners, many of whom were family businesses, started way back for me. But this service around exit and transition planning has been in about the last 3 or 4 years. And that actually came from my own experience in selling my company. I had 2 partners in the business, and we were able to actually sell it successfully in 2004. But we didn't get the best advice, and we had a hard time finding advisors out there who were independent and objective. So what I decided to do after selling the company was to start a consulting practice that focused on exactly that. Because I want the business owner to have all the information they need to figure out how to transition.
And you don't know what you don't know. So if you don't do this every day and you're not exposed to the right people, it's overwhelming, right? I mean,
It's overwhelming. There's a lot of moving parts, and they're not quite sure. It's a puzzle for them, and they're not really quite sure how to get started.
well, you're
So-
looking at aspects like what does my industry entail? You know, you look at industry difference. You're looking at what the current market is providing, you know, for purchase or sale. You're looking at psychological issues or age differences or family related. So how do you weigh all of those, or where do you start the education process first? I mean, there must be multiple meetings to say, what's the end result? What are you looking for?
That's exactly right. In fact, what typically, Jennifer, it averages about 3 meetings that we have with clients. If they've read, we do have a number of resources. There are books that they can read. There's some on family business, some on just exiting and transitioning. And that's usually a wonderful way to get started. But then there's a whole nother layer of education that we do to teach them about all these different dimensions and what process we can go through in an orderly fashion to actually help them figure this out.
Can you give examples of those layers and dimensions?
Sure. First of all, and actually Jennifer mentioned some of them. First of all, there's the personal goals of the owner, of the owners or owners in the company. A lot of times there's multiple shareholders. Then you have the business. Then you have, you know, how is the business doing and what is the business worth? How much money do the owners need out of this kind of a transition? So there's a personal financial analysis here as well. And then there's trying to match that to what the company's worth. And usually what we find is there's a gap between what the business is worth and what the owner needs it to be worth.
Or what
So-
they maybe think it's worth?
And what they think it's worth
Yeah.
it. And we educate them there on how businesses are valued and how different buyers look at these companies to figure out what they're worth. So that's all part of the education process. And then what we do is we match up the value of the company to what the owner's looking for, as well as their non-financial goals, like wanting to take care of key employees or family members. And we basically analyze different options for them and tell them the pros and cons of each option and how suitable those options are for their goals. So it's a very orderly process, and once we educate them on how we go through that process, they say, wow, this is great. You know, I didn't know how to start this process. So they find it very valuable.
What is